Okay, so the topic I'm going to talk about in this video is just, extending that Jab Champagne stuff a little bit further. Create our own icon with our own picture so we really personalize that message dialog box. So I'm going to look at two of the methods. It doesn't matter if you know how to read these yet or not. It takes a while to get used to reading the site, but just in case, I'm showing you where it came from. So I noticed there's a show input dialog. It takes 7 parameters. That first one we're going to make null, then our message, our title, the message type, the icon that we're going to create, and then selection values and initial selection value. We're going to wait and talk about those last two in a different video. For now, we're just going to make those null and let Java use the default for those selections. The selection is like that button that shows up that appears, it says okay or whatever. And then we're also going to alter our message dialog. So we're going to alter both the input dialog and the message dialog and include our own personalized icon. And so that's the one I'm going with. That one only takes the usual 4, and then you tack the icon on at the end. So that one might be the easiest one to start with. So we're going to start with message dialog. So the first thing that you'll have to do is you'll have to import Java Xswing image icon, and that'll allow us to add our own pictures as icons. So make sure you do that. And then I created a new program called input output icon that this time it is going to be doing similarly. This is what it did before. It asked for the name, it asked what they like to do, it printed out a message. And now at the end of that message, I'm also going to print out an icon. So let's start by setting up that icon. So you need to have some JPEG or even a GIF or a PNG or whatever kind of image file that you have. But it has to be, relatively small because you don't want this thing taking up the whole screen. So I am going to create a new image icon object. So just like we use string for our name and hobby objects, I am going to use image icon for the type. And then I'm going to call it me, because of course it has to be a picture of me. And that's a new image icon. This is sort of like the scanner when we use the new keyword. And in parentheses, as the parameter, I am going to type in the name of the actual file of my picture. Now I'm choosing to use my, there's a picture of me that we took out west, and I'm hugging a tree, so I called it treehugger.jpg. So I'm going to type it in exactly as it appears. This file is in the same, it's on my desktop, along with everything else that I'm doing, which isn't probably the best practice in the world, but the bottom line is if you want to just type in the name of the file, make sure that that file is also in the folder where your Java program is. Put it in quotation marks as if it were a string and put it in as a parameter here. And then at the very end of that message dialog box, I will stick my icon, which I called me. And let's run it and see what happens here. Oops, I forgot when I was deleting things. Notice how it says error, parenthesis expected, and then it's pointing at this dialog, so I know I'm missing a parenthesis. I just included that. So hit run. And it asks me for my name. And it asks what I like to do. And bam, there it is, a picture of me. And so if it wasn't creepy enough, now we have our computer printing out a message that is personalized. If we want to do that with a input dialog, it's a little bit different because there's 7 parameters. So I'm just going to show you what they are here, and then you can play around. I use null for the frame type that just says use the default. And now we have to include all those other parameters. So we have the message that appears. We want the title, so I'll say name will be the title of that box. The box type, so I'm going to call that information message. I'm going to call on one of those information messages to get that icon to show up, although we probably don't need it because I'm overwriting it with my own icon anyway. And then me for my icon. And the last two things we're going to call null. Now I get an error that says incompatible types, object cannot be converted to string. So that is happening because my computer is expecting this long line of code to return a object or an object, but I'm expecting it to return a string because I know the person's going to type in a word for their name or a string. So that's a great opportunity for me to show you a new concept, which is called you can cast this into a string. So if I put the word string in parentheses before it, I'm telling my computer, hey, I know you want to return an object, but I want you to return a string. Now it works fine, compiles, it runs, and there's my image. Shows up with name up in the bar, and everything else is going to work just the same. So go ahead, play around with that one now for a little while. See how it goes. Try some different things with your partner, and you can watch the next videos to find out about more cool stuff you can do with JOption panes. Have fun.